So are the Bills' Super Bowl window officially closed? Welcome to Schwab Sports Corner. We're going to talk about it here. So listen, Josh Allen's going to be 30, certainly entering the prime of his career. But this roster has been deteriorating for several years now, right? And they've obviously had heartbreaking losses in the NFL playoffs the last several years at the hands of Mahomes and the hands of Joe Burrow and what have you, but it is certainly starting to look like it's probably a time to retool this team, right? And I don't know where that begins. Certainly you need to have better offensive weapons, wide receivers specifically. He had zero wide receiver help for a lot of this year. Not enough depth at wide receiver, not enough talent out there. Good tight end help, and obviously a running game that has been very dominant. They're a top 10 running team this year. But I've really been like, if you're not going to win it this year, then win, right? And so, I don't know. I think the window is really starting to close. I don't think it's what it was a few years ago. And listen, yesterday looked like a regression of Josh Allen back to, kind of a gunslinger mentality, a kind of a put the ball in harm's way mentality, kind of looking back to the kind of those first early playoff games the Buffalo Bills were in. I remember the play against the Houston Texans where he kind of throws the football backwards over his head, and it ends up being a turnover. It kind of reminded me of that kind of game, and you just can't have that many turnovers in an NFL playoff game and expect to win. And so I really think the Buffalo Bills really have to start at the top. I think you have to start with Brandon Beane, the GM. You have to look very strongly at Sean McDermott, the head coach, and ask questions about, is this the coaching staff that can get us over the hump? And is this the GM that can build us the roster to get us back to a Super Bowl and potentially win it? We obviously have said on this corner several times that if not now, win. But that doesn't mean it was a cakewalk, right? They were a 6 seed. And it doesn't mean that the teams that they were going to play were going to just roll over and let them walk to the Super Bowl, right? That's not how playoff football works. And Denver's defense played very well, but that game yesterday was winnable for Buffalo. And that's the bottom line, whether you don't like the calls or you don't like, the interception that Denver had late in overtime. That game was winnable. And the Denver Broncos offense kind of gave you an opportunity to win that football game by doing nothing for most of the second half. And Buffalo couldn't do it. So, interesting to see what they do this offseason. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Share this with your friends.